Hi, this is Angelique Duffield from Bright Spark Media, and welcome to the Power of Free show, where we help entrepreneurs and business people learn the free tools that other business owners are using to be successful in their businesses online. And today we're going to be talking about Facebook. So I've got a very good friend of mine, someone I've known for a few years. I actually met her through a Facebook group and we connected and actually met in real life. This is my friend Rudin from the Social Garden, and she's going to be talking about using Facebook marketing for business. So she's going to focus a lot on brick and mortar businesses and how they can use it, but the advice does apply to anyone who's using Facebook for their business. So welcome, Eden.
Hi, Angelique. Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and your business?
Okay. I actually started using Facebook in 2008 for my brick and mortar businesses. My husband owned a racetrack with auto racing, and then we opened an ice cream parlor. And that's when I started seeing the power of what Facebook can do for the small business. And about 7 months later, all the community was abuzz because I was so vibrantly talking about how Facebook was bringing customers through the doors for our business and stuff, and people started asking me to help them with their Facebook and how do I get the businesses on. And so I started doing social media management for our local community, and I've lived in 3 countries since then, so now I do it internationally. I don't do social media consulting directly so much, like actually day-to-day posting and things, but I do consulting and training with businesses. But I love the brick and mortars. That's where my heart is because that's where I started, and so I am just passionate about how much it can make an impact on getting customers through the door and keeping their doors open.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm glad that you've mentioned that you've done it for small business and that it really can help businesses, because we've heard a lot lately about how Facebook isn't as effective as it used to be and the reach isn't as good, so you're not getting it in front of as many people, and that Facebook has this new pay-to-play model that they want you to advertise. So tell me about using Facebook. Is it still a valuable marketing tool even if you just use it for free?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt. Just between what it does with your Google rankings, by having a Facebook page, the interaction that you can have, and you can reach people directly, have conversations with them, interact with your audience, and not even have a website. I mean, so you can constantly be sharing what's going on in your business daily, and your local community people, they want to know. There's just dozens of ways, but it's absolutely, I personally feel like it's much more effective for the local small business in a small community, because those people, you're not going out looking for people. Those people are in your community. They already shop at your store or have been to your store or drive by your business. So you're already a little bit of front of mind to them versus being somebody, 700 states away or something. You're right there in front of them, so they're already looking for you.
Okay, so connecting and community is a really big part of what people should be doing, because I still see a lot of businesses, and I do a lot of Facebook marketing as well. Strategy is part of what my business is, but what I quite often see businesses do is promoting stuff just about themselves, and they're just talking about their sale that they've got coming up or new products and services. So that is a really bad idea, isn't it?
Yes, very bad idea, because nobody cares about you. I mean, they really don't. They do want to know, like, I have a restaurant who changes their specials menu every single day, like a full menu changes every day, appetizers,
Wow.
desserts, and everything. So they use Facebook by posting what the new menu is, right? So they're talking about themselves, but they're sharing it with the people because people want to know what the menu is. Otherwise, they get 45 calls. What's for lunch today? So they use Facebook for that. So there's a little bit of it, but no. Talking about your local events that are going on, maybe clubs that you're involved with, people, residents in your community that are doing awesome things that nobody knows about. Because sometimes your local paper, especially nowadays with newspapers kind of going down the toilet, there's a lot of things to share in the community, and you could be that source. If you have a customer that comes in once a week, and you start talking to that customer, maybe have a little bit of information, and maybe interview them. Share their value and what they have, their knowledge, and them as an individual with your community. You can just do so many things when it's local.
Okay, so talking to people who are coming to your store and kind of featuring them as spotlights. And I suppose even if you just build a network, like I use interest list a lot. I'm not sure if you're going to be covering that today, but that's how I segment people and businesses. So I've got the Okanagan community, and I've got restaurants and bed and breakfast and wedding industry. So I can kind of help promote those other businesses too, because like you said, in the local community, people are kind of trusting each other to pass the word and share it with that word of mouth.
Yeah, it's critical. I wasn't going to cover interest lists today, but it is critical to, like, I mean, if you're a florist, you can talk about what the dry cleaner special is, or what your where you guys ate for lunch, or what's going on with it. Maybe the car club is having a meeting, or the Veterans Association, or I mean, there's the knitting group. I mean, there's so many things you can talk about to help promote them. They're not conflicting with interest. You're not talking about your competitors necessarily, but you're still being a valuable part, and you become an asset to your community is what you really can do there. And then people are like, well, what if there's 4 other people in my community already doing the same thing? Guess what? You're not all talking about the exact same thing, unless you live in a town of maybe 500 people. But if you have a town of more than like 50,000 people, there's just hardly any way that you're all going to be talking about the same thing, because there's so many things happening.
And I think that really builds you as a person, because quite often people are very businessy, and they're, like I said, they're just talking about the promotions. But if you're showing the behind the scenes, what you've got going on, and even a bit of personal stuff, like if you're involved in charity races for cancer and things like that, and car washes and festivals and events, it really shows you as a real person. And I think that's where you really do make a very big connection with your audience.
Yes, absolutely. You build some solid relationships.
So can you talk a bit more about how to start building those relationships on Facebook? So how do you start connecting with people? If you're kind of brand new, let's just talk a bit for people who are newbies to using Facebook. How do you start to build your Facebook page and get likes and get more people to your page?
Well, first off, the first rule is to claim your vanity URL, which is your facebook.com / and then your business name. That's your most important asset. So you aren't just a bunch of numbers up there. I'm not sure if people have noticed in the address bar, but if you don't claim this vanity URL, like Eden's called it, you just have a whole string of numbers, and that's hard for people to remember. Right, and you want to be careful, because you only get to change it one time, and Facebook is really picky about changing it. So you really want it to be something that makes sense, something logical. So generally your business name, or something in relation, like with our ice cream store, the ice cream store was named Scoops, but Scoops is a hugely popular name for ice cream stores, so it was, I couldn't go / Scoops, so we were called Uptown Scoops, because our district was called Uptown.
Right.
So we were Uptown Scoops, so that you something that designates you different from everybody else. But that's really critical. That's important, because if you're trying to tell people that you're, Joe's Market, and they type in Joe's Market, there's 700 Joe Market, they necessarily can't find you. So that's the first thing, is to claim your vanity URL.
Okay.
When you set up the page, you actually get an option there to claim your URL, and you want to do that right away. As soon as you have it thought out well, not right away. Don't just jump on it.
Okay, so you want to use some keywords like your location or your industry. So it could be Scoops Ice Cream, New York City, or whatever it was. But that's a bit long, but people get the idea.
Right, like so maybe Scoops NY or something like that,
right,
depending on, or whatever city you're in. And careful, we're talking about a small local hard brick and mortar business, then you're not probably going to be moving, and that's fine. If you're a business that is going to move, don't put your city name in there. Or if you're a franchise or something like that, be careful, and be careful how you spell it. I actually did, for a client one time, spell their URL wrong. And I had to go to Facebook and ask them to change it, because I completely switched 2 letters, and I just did it so quick, because I was like, So you have to think it out, write it down, check. The easiest way to check and see if that's taken or not is go to http://facebook.com / and type the name you want. And if it comes up, somebody already has that page, you can't have it. So you need to spend a little bit of time researching. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to start telling your customers. Tell people in your store that you're on Facebook, because you just can't expect people to find you. You need to start, put it by the cash register, put it on your menus, put it on your napkin holders, on your receipts. You can, a lot of software systems, the SAP systems, you can customize what your receipt says, right? So find us on Facebook, and don't just put find us on Facebook. Put the find us on Facebook, the page name, which doesn't have to be anywhere the same as the URL, and then the vanity URL also. Just not find us on Facebook, because they won't.
Right, because I've seen that too, and I've tried to look for businesses, and especially if there's sometimes for whatever reason it just doesn't come up in the search, or there's multiple businesses. Like you said, Scoops is a very common name, so you can imagine searching for that and not being able to find it. So really good point. Make sure that you actually put down that vanity URL or the Facebook web address wherever you're going to be advertising it, and not just have, we're on Facebook.
Right, absolutely. And when your name, like they might spell the name with apostrophe, but it was taken or something, in their page name, or they put all the words together and they didn't put a space, but you're typing it like it is at the store with the spaces, and you can't find it. So there's so that's the biggest one, and to tell people that you're there. Don't expect that they're just going to be able to find you. Have your customer service people talking to people and telling them. Put it on your business cards. If you have magnets on your car, put it on your magnets on your car, on the back of your windows, whatever you use to advertise, include your Facebook with your advertising.
And on your email signature as well. That's a really good place to put it, because people can just click on it and go right to your page.
Yes, absolutely. If you're using a list, which most brick and mortar businesses don't really have, but if you are using that, absolutely everywhere you can include it, include it.
Okay.
Another one is changing your cover. Well, we wanted to know how to get them a lot of people. Changing your cover photo often is actually something that stimulates your audience to engage with you, because Facebook gives priority to that photo when in the news stream. It takes that cover photo and says, oh, your page made a change, something big happened, and it puts it in the news feed, and it gets a little bit more priority over other things. So changing your cover photo once every 2 weeks, even if it's just a simple message, if you're having a sale, if you just have a new offering, if you want to remind people that it's summertime and roses are in bloom, or whatever it is that you want to do. You have a new nail polish color that came in if you're a nail salon. I mean, there's just so many things. But just even before and after pictures, anything, just changing that cover photo. And a quick and easy way to do that, I think you guys had somebody talk about Canva before?
Not yet.
Shows? Oh, no, not yet. Okay. Okay, well, Canva is my favorite, and the image is right there. And it's perfectly changed. So it's canva.com, canva.com. Okay. And that's the best way to change your cover photo.
Okay. So, like, for instance, Eden actually put the banner that we use for the show, and for the Google event, she actually used that as her Facebook cover, saying, I'm featured on the show, I'm the guest expert talking about blah, blah, blah. And I've seen people change it for different seasons and for holidays at Christmas and Thanksgiving and all those different seasons, featuring some of their highlighted customers. If they've got, customer of the week, people have used it in that way. Ask questions and things like that too, or if they've got a book launch coming up or new products and services. There's so many things that you can do to change your picture, and it really is, it's just a picture that's in your photo album in Facebook too. So if you use something generic, like it's summertime or flowers or something like that, if it's related to your industry, then you can just go back and reuse that again too. And then Facebook does just kind of post out that you've changed your cover photo, and people will like it again, because not everybody's going to have seen it the one time. And a lot of people don't actually land on your Facebook page. They actually just see it in their newsfeed. So if you change it and it shows up in their newsfeed, they might never go to your Facebook page. So they'll actually get to see your kind of news that you're sharing as your Facebook cover photo. Absolutely.
That's why I recommend like every 2 weeks. I mean, I really think that you have something to say, even if it's a post that you talked about on the page and it got a lot of interaction or a lot of conversation going, repost it as a cover photo, like just a text on a background, right. Whatever it is. But I think every 2 weeks changing your cover photo is really critical. And then adding the description to it. Don't just change the photo. Make sure you edit the description and put some text, maybe a link to your website or whatever. It doesn't have to link necessarily, but just put some description in there.
Yes,
that's a big one.
That's a great point, because I've used that too, and I've actually just posted the link for Canva. There's a new feature on Google now called Showcase, so I've posted the link for Canva, so hopefully you are able to see it. So Canva is great for doing graphics. Even if you feel like you're not really graphically inclined, they've got lots of examples and lots of free stuff in there too. And when you make your cover photo and you use the description, like I said, it's just like a regular photo that you upload in Facebook. Maybe you've got a family photo, you're camping or on vacation, you know, you usually put a description. So in that description, you can actually put a link. So it could be a link to your blog post, it could be a link to your menu page, anything like that. So it's a kind of a cheat of a way that you can trick Facebook into having a link. And I've done it before too, that I've actually had a call to action. So click here if you want to go to join our show, or click here to read the menu. So you can actually make almost like a fake button. And then when people click on the picture, because they're naturally going to click that button, in the description they've got that link, and then they can just jump right to whatever it is that you're advertising or that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. It's a missed opportunity. A lot of people don't realize how critical that is.
Yeah, awesome. That's a really good point. Okay, so is there anything else, like when you're starting your page, let's talk about the difference between place pages and Facebook pages. There's not much difference anymore, but can you just explain a bit of why you would choose the category that you do when you first set up your Facebook page?
Yeah, if you're a brick and mortar store, you want to, when you come up with the 6 options of what kind, you want to pick the place page, because when you put your address in, it's going to give a Google map. You have the option to add hours, and Facebook actually keeps track of what hours you're open and closed. So like it's 9:30 at night, and I found somebody's like, oh, I want to go to try the new Italian restaurant. We've never been there. Let's go. And I look them up on Facebook to see maybe some pictures of their food and some things like that. If it's 9:30 and they closed at 9, it's actually going to tell me it's closed today, opens again tomorrow at 11 a.m. or whatever time they open. So Facebook is actually helping you drive people to your business by using the places page if you do it properly. So you're adding your hours, you add your map with your address, you can tell them what kind of parking you have, what your price ranges are, you can tell them what kind of food. So they have, you know, all the different varieties of types of foods, delicatessen and Indian and Asians and pizza and pasta and desserts and coffee shop and all the cafe. You can pick what kind of, you can actually pick several of them. I don't even think you're limited to how many you pick now. I think it was just to be limited to 3, but now I think you can pick as many as you want that fit with you. So Facebook is saying, let me give as much information as possible to the people that come to your page. So that's one of the benefits of using a page that's a place versus something that, if you're a website, it just says, you know, what's your website address and give me some mentions, but it doesn't really help the person to find you and to not find you, that's probably not the right word, to help engage with you, help your visitors to your page engage with you. So a places page is definitely what you want if you're a brick and mortar business.
Okay, and you can also do reviews on places pages. I'm not sure if you just said that, maybe I'm repeating it. But
Reviews are wonderful.
And do you want to talk a bit about reviews and how that works on Facebook and how it can help get you seen more?
Yeah, so there's a review feature that actually will pop up automatically when somebody likes your page. I think it's within 24 hours, Facebook comes back to you when you log into Facebook and it says, hey, you like this page, would you like to review them? And you can give a little review, and it goes to the page. When somebody's visiting, there's actually the first thing that comes up underneath the cover photo, the next thing that comes down is the reviews. And I think it's after 3 reviews, and they might have moved it to 5, that you can start getting the stars, and then people can start rating you with star ratings. It doesn't work like TripAdvisor or Yelp or anything like that, where you don't get to see the stars in the search. I mean, the stars really don't have a lot of value except for visual appeal. They haven't made them integrate with anything else. So it'd be great if you're searching, right, you're typing Asian restaurant, you know, Lakewood, and it comes up and it shows you, and then it shows you the stars too. That would be awesome. But it doesn't do that yet. It just is a visual appeal when somebody's on the page.
Right. Now, I have noticed that when there are at least 3 reviews, that it does show up right under your page name. So right under your cover photo, you actually see the number of stars that people have. Right.
But they have to be on your page to see it. So it's kind of like, it would be neat if they could see it in the search.
Yeah.
But someday.
Or even to rank them. Like if you're looking for a restaurant or a hairstylist or a lawyer or whatever it is, you probably want to pick the people who are best at their job, who've gotten good reviews. So yeah, at some point, maybe in the future, Facebook's going to start having a bit of a ranking system, so you can, if you search for something, it will come up in terms of either ranking or name order or whatever, just kind of a bit like TripAdvisor. I wonder if they're actually moving in that direction.
Yeah, there was, and they have been, one of the things about reviews on Facebook is you can, well, you could, and I'm not sure if you can now because they've just made some changes. You can actually hide the reviews. As the page administrator, you can actually hide those reviews, which was an issue because people were a little flipped out that these negative reviews were there and they had no way to justify. You can't respond to them. You can't comment on them and everything. So they were actually, I think they were letting you remove the reviews. So.
Okay.
Okay. How about some negative things?
Sure.
Mistakes, because that's what,
yeah,
that's what I see a lot.
I was just about to go to that. So name some of the biggest mistakes that you see businesses making when they're using their Facebook page.
Well, we just talked about the type of page. That's a big one, is they pick the wrong kind of page.
Okay.
Right. They're actually a printing place, and they actually picked that they were a magazine, but they're actually a printing location, where so that people can't find them on the address and can't get information. That's a big one.
And I just wanted to say, I know it's really, really confusing because I teach this for workshops and at a college course, and it is confusing when you start your page for the first time because there are so many options. So just so you know, when you start your page and you pick your category, you can actually change it later. So just make sure to kind of review it after you first made your page, maybe after a month or so, and go back and look at it and try and look at it from a customer's perspective, because you don't realize that those things that you've picked, like maybe you've picked the wrong category or you've chosen a page instead of a place page, and you can actually change that. So it really does help to kind of review what you're doing and maybe, you know, watch a few videos, or I've got some things posted on my YouTube channel. I'm sure Eden does on hers as well. Just go back and, like I said, revisit the categories and walk through your description and things like that, and just make sure that you've got everything set up that helps your customers to find you. Right.
And I can't remember. I had a thought while you were saying that.
Okay. We can come back to it. Don't worry about it.
The other thing is they're not using their about section and putting keywords in there.
Yes, yes.
Your about section is searchable by Google. It's the only part of right now, although somebody has just recently said that your posts are searchable by Google, but I still have not seen that.
Right.
But your about section is searchable by Google. So they're not using the keywords of what kind of business they are, what industry they serve. Probably if they're strictly like an insurance company and they only serve the local community or the county, they need to have those kind of words in there. And then also about 50 or 70 characters down, you want to put your URL of your website again, because your about section comes up quickly. And I remember what I was just going to say on the other thing. But your about section comes up quickly. I've actually had somebody rank the first page of Google, the third item down, without a website. She didn't even have a website, and her Facebook page ranked. And it wasn't something weird. It was a massage studio in a town.
Oh, okay.
So if you were in that town visiting, because it was a tourist town, and you were looking for a massage, you would type that town and you type the word massage. Her page came up third. Her Facebook page came up number 3 on the homepage of Google. So that's how critical it is.
Right, right.
We made sure that those keywords were in right away with her Facebook page about section. Okay, so let me go back to what you said just a second ago. Remember that apparently it's not very important because it just left me again.
It just keeps leaving.
I'm going to write it down next time I remember.
Okay, I just wanted to go back to what you just said. It's not just that it shows up in Google, but when people hover over, doesn't it give like the first sentence or two of their business?
When they hover on the Google search?
No, on Facebook when you see it in the news feed.
Oh yes, when you're in your news feed and you're hovering about a page, if you hover over the name. Yeah, but most people, I would think most people don't hover very much.
Okay. Okay, and it does show up in Google too. So if people see it, the first couple lines of your about section, your description, or whatever you want to call it, that's what actually shows up in a search, whether you use Google or Bing or whatever it is. That's actually what shows up. So it's really important that maybe your first 2 lines talk a lot about your location, your specifics, what your specific services and offerings, and that's what people are going to see. So they will make that decision really quickly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Another one is that not, well, we went kind of review this, but not changing their vanity URL. and then expecting people to find them. That's a big mistake. You need to have that vanity URL, and you need to be able to direct people right to where you're going.
Okay.
And putting in your name, people want to get clever for some reason on Facebook. They think that they need to get clever with the name. So Joe's Cigar Shop, they'll be like, you know, Joe's Cigar Shop is one word on their Facebook page name, when in fact it's not. Right. And I think it's really Facebook's fault because they don't explain it well. Mm-hmm. This should be your business name. Spell it just like you spell your business name, and they should say. They don't really help people, so it's kind of frustrating.
So let me just back up a second. Why don't you explain the difference between the URL and the page name? Because maybe some people who are new to Facebook don't realize that there's a difference.
Okay, so the page name is actually your identity within Facebook. So when you are in somebody's in the search in Facebook and they're typing, Facebook is looking at the page name. So you want it to be like in case of the massage studio. You know, it's the city name and then massage studio. 3 words, just like it is. That's the name of our business. It's just the same name as your business. The vanity URL is a URL, which is a website address. Okay. So you can't have spaces. It doesn't matter if you have capitals or not. You can't have, actually Facebook will let you have a period, but that's it. The only thing you can have is a period, which don't do because nobody will type the period. It doesn't make any sense for a website. Like you wouldn't have goo.gle.com for Google. I mean, it's Google. That's the name. So the vanity URL is your web address, and it's once Facebook assigns it to you, nobody else can have it. Just like any website, there's only one. If you do, there is an exception. If you do find that nobody's using it, and you're looking for one, you can ask Facebook to release that one, and you can get it back if it's not being used. But for the most part, there's just one of those, and it says. So let's say with Scoops, right? Scoops Ice Cream Parlor. It's just the word was Scoops. That was our page. There are, if you go and type Scoops in your search, and I type Scoops in my search, and Joe in Arkansas types Scoops, and Sally in Australia types Scoops, we're all going to see different things, and we probably won't even see the same Scoops.
Right. Because that's a good point.
Right. So a lot of pages can be named Scoops. Only one can have the vanity URL, facebook.com/scoops.
Right, okay. And the page name is actually what you see right under the big picture on your Facebook page. So under the cover photo, that big title is actually your page name. And the URL, the vanity URL, is in the address bar. So it's just like any other website. So I hope that clears it up.
Yeah. I know, that does get confusing. I wish Facebook would be a little bit more.
I know. They make it hard for people. Okay, so do you have any other mistakes that businesses are making that you can give some tips on how to fix those mistakes and how to do it better?
Oh, don't buy likes.
Yes.
Let me talk about likes for a second. Likes are not. Don't be ego-driven by likes.
Good point.
Your restaurant down the street has 10,000 likes, and you have 2,000 likes, or 1,500 likes, or 700 likes. Okay? Don't let that burst your ego, because that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that more. It probably means, to be perfectly honest, that they bought the likes.
Yeah.
So, unless you're in New York City and it's a really big, bustling city, and if you're in a really big town, and every other restaurant has 10,000 likes or 15 or 20,000 likes, then maybe you need to take a look at what you're doing that needs to be done differently. Or if you're new, it's going to take a little bit of time. But people are so ego-driven that the likes represent the ego of themselves, and that's not the case. So don't buy them, because when you're buying likes, you're basically getting people from, unless you're in India or Philippines, but you're basically getting people from those other regions, and you're getting them to like your page. Well, what good is that going to do? Because then you're talking to nobody. You're posting your daily specials, and you think you have 10,000 or 8,000 people that like your page, when in fact 140 people are looking at your daily specials and really care.
Right.
So there's just no value there. It's just don't let your ego drive your likes.
So
let it be quality likes.
it really is more important to concentrate on the quality of your fans. So you might only have 100 fans or followers on your Facebook page, but maybe they're very active and they comment how much they love your food and you've got the best cheesecake in town, or you know, the movie theater has the biggest, most comfortable seats, and they engage with it and they actually make comments. That is more important than having 2,000 or 10,000 fans who actually don't ever comment on your page or do anything. Is that right?
Or come through the door, or even come to your business.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, the reality is, if you had 10,000 fans and you posted a special, you couldn't have 10,000 people show up at your restaurant anyway, you know, unless you're a stadium. But, you know, so why just worry about getting those people that actually can show up when you post that special, or you talk about, you know, it. This is something that we did at the ice cream store, and I recommend it to a lot of businesses that have weather that changes sometimes abruptly, like a monsoon comes in or a snow blizzard or something. You put a special on. As long as it's snowing out, coffee's free. You know, or
right.
$2 off your dry cleaning if you come in while it's snowing out, or whatever. If you had 10,000 fans, and they really were 10,000 fans, you couldn't have 10,000 people show up anyway.
Exactly.
So if you, what difference does it make if you only have 2,000 and 20 people show up, or 2,000 people show up? You know, that's the people that show up, that come through those doors and hand you cash and exchange business services with you. That's who you're talking to, and that's why it's more valuable to know who your fans are, and to know that they're part of your community, or they're tourists that are coming, or whatever the situation may be.
Okay, so that kind of leads into another question. How do you know what exactly to post, or how often to post, and how do you find things? Like, there's a lot of photo quotes, for instance, that people put now. But what about things like Facebook contests, and how do you find material to keep sharing? Because it is quite a bit of work if you think about it, but I think you can minimize the effort that you need to do and kind of use your community and share things like that. Do you want to talk a little bit about how people can find things to share and save some time with Facebook?
Well, the one big time saver Facebook added to Pages, which was just an absolute blessing, was a scheduler. So you can schedule your posts. You can sit down on Sunday afternoon when you're slow, you know, it's a slow Sunday, or you're closed, or whatever, and you can schedule a whole week's worth of posts. And then just check in on Facebook once a day or twice a day, just to see if anybody's commented and shared or liked, or there's been any other conversations. And liking people's comments and things like that. You get interactive, but you don't have to spend all this time. So it really isn't a huge burden of time. It's not this great time suck in terms of, if you get in, do your work, and get out, life is good. You know, you can get in and be in the time suck zone and be in there for 4 hours and be like, oh my God, I'm just wasting so much time on Facebook. Well, then that's a choice that you're making, to waste that time on Facebook. So the scheduling, every post that you post throughout your page can be scheduled. That's a huge bonus. The other thing is to look around. My first thing is to look around your business. You have employees. Most small businesses have at least 1 or 2 employees, maybe possibly more. Take a snapshot of each of the employees and ask 3 things that they like, ask them what superhero they would be, right? And so let's say you have 5 employees, and you've taken that 5 pictures, and you've asked them, and you feature them once a week. You put your employee up and what superhero they'd like to be. Maybe even make a funny picture with a cape or whatever superhero. You know, cut off their head and put it on a superhero body if you want to make it funny. And there's 5. That is over a month's worth of posts for one day.
Of course, yeah.
There's 5. Your food, or your services, your dry cleaning before and after shots, and nail salon before and after shots, different color. You can look around your business itself. Just, you have to take a step back, take an outside picture, an inside picture, talk to your customers, take pictures before and afters if you made any changes. Even if you go back with Scoops, even 5 years later, I would post pictures of the before and afters of what we looked like when we were building stuff.
Awesome.
And our customers went crazy. And just so you know, we didn't have 10,000 fans. We only had a little over 2,000 fans. I think we're like at 2,200 fans. It wasn't, but when I talked about our business, or I posted about a special, or I did one of those promotions because we had monsoons, well, anytime it's raining, sodas were 50 cents or whatever, we would have people come in the door.
Cool.
And that's all, yeah, that's what you want, is those people coming through the door. So you just have to kind of take a different look at it. You have to look at your business and look at Facebook as part of your marketing package. So it's just so invaluable. I did want to mention about insights. You can go into the insights of your page and look at your demographics, and it will tell you where your likes are coming from, male and female, what age range, and where your demographic. So if you are getting a whole lot of likes for some strange reason and you weren't expecting it, right? You just opened up the page, you're at 200, next thing you know, you're at 700. Go look at those infographics and the demographics and see where they're coming from. It'll tell you what country. It actually goes down and tells you what city, what language they speak. There's a lot of information in there and look and see what's happening. And what happened for us, just one example, there was an ice cream store called Scoops in Arizona also. It was in Prescott. And I had a post that went viral. That picture went from, you remember that Wizard of Oz picture went crazy viral. And all of a sudden everything just went, I mean, it was over 1 million views and likes and comments, and it was crazy. But all of a sudden,
I just wanted to say this picture that Eden's talking about, it was just a simple picture. Like it wasn't strategic. It was just a nostalgic picture of the Wizard of Oz. So it's the thing that you can share as well.
I asked a question. Sorry, I asked a question about it. Like, do you remember this scene or something like that? Yes. And it was crazy. It went crazy. But she got a huge surge of likes all of a sudden.
Right.
And she sent me a message because we're friends. We actually know each other because the same name of the business and both did ice cream. We didn't do the same product at all. We made ice cream, and she was up and elevated. She didn't make ice cream. But anyway, so she sent me a message. She's like, "Oh my God, since your post went viral, I've gotten like 300 likes." And I'm like, "Oh, that's funny. So go look in your demographics and see where they're coming from." And sure enough, they were coming from our town or surrounding towns in our area. So then I would make a post, and she actually said, we actually did each other a favor. She's like, if you were looking for the Scoops in Lake Havasu, here's a link to their page. And then I did the same thing to hers because people were like, I love your chocolate-covered bananas. And we weren't even serving chocolate-covered bananas. And I'm like, oh, that's really great, but I know you're not talking to me, so maybe we can find out who you're supposed to be talking to.
Oh, that's a nice customer service sort of thing to do, too.
Yeah. But so there's just so many ways to interact with it. But your insights are important. Check your demographics. See what's going on. Every 2 weeks or so, check and see. You do want to know, like, let's say that you do have let's say it's a dry cleaners, and you have more women that are on your Facebook page than you have men. Well, guess what? So start talking about stains that relate to women: gardening, blood, cooking, spaghetti sauce. Things that how you can clean your purse. I mean, you use that information to change your dialect and your messages to cater to those people, and you will see more results.
Right, so the insights are basically the analytics for Facebook, in case you were wondering about that. If you've never looked at them, when you go to your Facebook page, it's in the settings in the admin area in the back end, and only you can see those. So it's not like everybody in the world can see your analytics and your insights and how many people are liking it and things like that. But if you go into the back end and go into the admin section, you can look at the insights, and there are graphs and charts, and you can look at it for the last month, how many new likes you've gotten, how many, like where people are coming from, like Eden said, from different countries, the age range, and you can also look at how each post is doing. So maybe you've just posted, like Eden did, that picture for the Wizard of Oz, and you compare it to all of your other kind of pictures that you've been posting on. Maybe it's some staff pictures or event pictures. And maybe you realize that nostalgia pictures or what's current now, the Throwback Thursday pictures, maybe those are your most popular posts. So maybe you decide on Thursdays that you're going to post 2 different pictures, from TV shows or something like that, or pictures of you 20 years ago, maybe when you got married or when you just opened the store. So things like that. So take a look at the ones that are really popular and see if you can kind of repeat that. Now, the post that Eden was talking about was her Wizard of Oz one, and I think there was something like 80,000 likes and shares and things like that. Now, that is a ton for anybody. Like, when she says viral, it did go viral. And I know that she did something else, and the next week, or maybe the next day, Eden, you kind of repeated it, and you didn't get quite as good a result, but you still got something like 88 shares, which is still a lot for a page with 2,000 likes.
Right. Yeah, I just don't know what happened with that Wizard of Oz. But I did. I started doing a a movie thing, and then I think I took like some, so like you remember when it was like an old Tupperware picture, and then like a beeper, and just interesting
and records and things.
Exactly. And I don't, you need to make sure if you take the picture off somebody else's website or something, you give credit to the photo,
right.
where the photo came from. The one that was the Wizard of Oz, I didn't, but it was just, and we have no idea. I mean, we still don't know what triggered that, because it went to the point that it was people in England were talking about it, like, no, I don't even know, because it's not a big European thing, Wizard of Oz.
Mm.
And they were like, no, I don't remember that scene. I don't even know what movie that is. And yeah, there were just so many. It was insane. But you could do like the same thing. So we've covered it just with your employees, if there was 5 employees, right? So we've got a month worth of Tuesday's postings, right? Because that's just an easy, you got one for every Tuesday, you put an employee up and what superhero they want to be. Mm-hmm. The same kind of thing if you picked like Throwback Thursday, right? And you picked a memorabilia that's relevant to your business. Yes. Or even a piece. One of the hardware stores in Belize is doing. They take the camera and they zoom in real tight on some item in the store, and then they do a little contest that says the first person to correctly identify this gets a free water bottle.
Awesome. Right? Okay.
And they have this little tiny page, and she gets 88 or 90 people commenting on these contests, and it's amazing. It's Builder's Hardware in Belize, just so you know. But it's great. I love that contest that she's doing.
So why don't we talk a bit more about contests? There was a time when running a Facebook contest, you had to do it through an app. Facebook had a lot of rules, and about 8 months ago or a year ago, they changed, and now you can actually post directly on your Facebook page and have contests. Radio stations do this all the time. But why don't you talk a bit about how you would run a contest and how you decide what you can do as a contest, and it doesn't actually even have to be with a prize. People just like to guess and compete against each other.
Oh, I'm probably the worst person to do this because I don't do it very often anymore. Because so many people specialize in contests, I'm like, okay, I'll call somebody and have them do it. But that's a good one, right? So you can go around your store, you can zoom in on something, take a picture, and you can, like I said, you don't have to give away a prize. It could be a discount. It could be nothing. It could just be who can guess this first.
Yes.
But you're asking for interaction. That's the point of the contest, or anything where you're asking a question, is you're asking for interaction. I think probably more importantly than the contest is knowing that when you make a post on Facebook that you're asking a question of some sort. You want them to call to action. So like this if you agree, or share this if you know people that used to have one of these, or we're on nostalgia stuff right now, so my brain's kind of right there. Yeah. But if comment, what year was this taken in? Or can you relate? So you're asking for interaction. You're asking them to like, share, or comment, and that's the most important thing. So the value of the contest that Facebook, when they reversed that rule and they let you do it on your page, has helped the engagement of pages. Because even if, like you said, with the radio stations giving away free tickets, nobody may guess the right answer. And with Google now, everybody pretty much can look up any answer.
Yes.
Right? That's why I like that contest where she's zooming in with the picture.
Yeah.
Because it's not something you can just go Google it. So anyway, that's the value of the contest, is that you can really get the engagement. And
So it's not about the prize. It's not about offering discounts. It's just about getting some interaction on your page.
Right. And then people pay attention. So let's say every third one you give a prize.
Okay.
So, they don't know when you're going to give the prize. So it's not like every time you ask. So then they're going to be more apt to answer because they're not sure. Oh, it's raining outside. Sorry, it just started raining. See, I give sodas at a discount. It's raining outside. But they're more apt to engage if maybe you surprise them with the prize. You ask the question, and then you're like, oh, Susie, you did that so quick. You answered that. I'm going to, come on in for a free something. Or next time you come in to get your nails done, I'll give you 20% off. And it's just a surprise.
Yes.
That's a lot of fun, too. And people are like, wow, I just won something I didn't even know I was going to win. That's fun, too.
Awesome. And people like to be rewarded for being the best fans, because I've
Yes.
seen some of the apps that are fan of the week app, and it's just the number of comments that you've made or likes or whatever it is. So it's just getting people engaged, and that actually does help your post. So while we're on this topic, it helps to get seen in the newsfeed. I'm not sure if you've heard about Facebook lately that the reach isn't happening as much, that maybe only 16%, a maximum of 16% of people are actually seeing your posts. So why don't you talk about how EdgeRank works? So Facebook EdgeRank is the algorithm, like how Facebook determines what is popular. So can you talk just a tiny bit on that? We've just got like 5 minutes left, but just kind of touch on why it's important to have fans who are engaged in the first place.
Okay, so let me explain first that everything that you see in your newsfeed, because this is a misconception with business owners that people aren't familiar with it. Everything that you see in your newsfeed you are the only person that is seeing all that in your newsfeed. Everybody's newsfeed is individually to them, and it gets more individualized by how much interaction you do with those people, your friends and your family, and the places and the businesses that you interact with. So Angelique and I both like Starbucks Facebook page, which I don't know that we do, but we do. Whether or not she sees the most recent post and whether or not I see the most recent post is going to depend on if she goes to their page often or she likes their posts a lot and she's commenting, then Facebook gives, this is the non-technical, which most small business owners would rather have the non-technical, but the Facebook is going to give priority to Starbucks in her newsfeed, whereas where I like Starbucks and I never interact with them, then they don't get ranked in my, EdgeRank doesn't value them in my newsfeed. So we seeing the same, we can like the same pages, but it's very personal. Plus we have different friends and then their stuff shows up differently.
Right.
So Facebook will, you need your audience to be liking, commenting, and sharing your posts.
Yes.
In order for them to, when they do that, it puts you a higher priority in their newsfeed, which again helps you like, comment, and share. But when they like, comment, or share your stuff, their friends are seeing that they're liking, commenting, and sharing. So Facebook is going to give more exposure to you and to your page to their friends if they're liking, commenting, and sharing. And then it's going to also suggest the page. It's going to come back and say, Julie really likes this page, so let's say Julie likes and comments and shares a lot of stuff from you. On her friend's page, when her friends are on Facebook, they're going to get a little message that says, Julie really likes this page. Do you want to like it too? Right. So they're going to like the page, and generally they are because it's social proof. They like something that their friends like. So it's quite complex and it's quite integrated, but it basically comes back to the same premise that that you have a lot more control than people like to give Facebook.
Right. So I think what people don't realize, and I've had lots and lots of people say this, and as the general public, you don't necessarily realize how valuable your likes and comments are. I've had lots of people say, oh my God, I'm following your page all the time. I love all the stuff that you're putting out, but they've never once made any comments. So just looking at the stuff doesn't have any value, I'll say, for the actual page. So it's by interacting that it does have value. So there's lots of people who consume the information, who read your specials or who like your pictures, but don't actually click that like button. So that's really, really important for anyone who's watching, not just to ask for people to do it on yours, but if you've got some friends who own businesses, to make sure that you interact with their pages, because that adds value for them. So liking and commenting and sharing is helping their business as well. And if you want them to stay in business, then of course you want to help them out. So that's just a bit of something from the general public that you might not realize is really, really important, that interaction. And I'll just say another point too, is that things like a text comment doesn't get as many shares as, for instance, a picture or a video. So Facebook kind of ranks that as well in terms of the value of it. And that's why you see people posting all these photo quotes. It doesn't have anything to do with their business. It's, positive quotes and sayings. But the reason you see these so often is because people like to share those and comment on them. So that's how they're getting more people drawn into their page, and they're just getting more interaction, which means they're getting seen in news feeds a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like there's a two-part training that has to go on when somebody makes a Facebook page. They need to understand how to use the page and work it, and then they need to understand what's really happening on their customer side so that they can get a better feel for what to do. And it is really complicated, and but it is a marketing tool that is effective. You can put an ad. I mean, I can't tell you that Yellow Pages ads, $900 a month for a Yellow Pages ad, or some of them were, thousands of dollars a month. You don't know if people are seeing it. You don't know who's coming through the door. But when you tell that you have a sale and you put it on Facebook and somebody walks through that door and says, oh, I heard it's 20% off on all green shirts today. I'm here to buy it. And you only put it on Facebook, you know that worked.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's just there is definitely a huge accountability.
Value in using Facebook, and it is traceable. And I've had that discussion for many years, and it's not as prevalent, but people have said, what's the ROI, the return on investment of social media, that you can't prove it. And just the fact that you can look at your insights, you can see what people have clicked on, and when somebody comes in and gives you the discount code or something that you've posted on Facebook, or like you said, maybe all fruit smoothies are on sale today, and you've only posted that on Facebook, then you know that that's where people are coming from. Whereas a billboard or Yellow Pages or whatever it is, newspaper ad, drop flyers, unless you actually are asking at the till every single person who comes in, how did you hear about us, you have no idea. So there is a lot of value and accountability and traceability. So there is a lot of value to putting things on Facebook and knowing where your business is actually coming from.
And you can change it daily, right? So you had leftover pot roast from St. Patrick's Day, and today you're going to have stew with it. You can't change an ad on a billboard. You can't change an ad in the newspaper, or even on the radio for that matter.
Right.
But you can tell people on Facebook that there's something happening. I mean, you can have a chalkboard sign out front. It's pretty much the only other way that somebody could see it on a daily basis.
Great. That is a good point. Okay, so we're getting up to the hour, and why don't I just do a bit of a recap? I don't see any questions from people, so it sounds like you've covered all the information that people need to know. So let's just talk a bit about what we've talked about today. So the first thing that Eden talked about was connection and community building with your Facebook page. So that has a lot of value. Claiming your vanity URL. I think Facebook calls it their web address or something like that, something strange. I wish people would use consistent terminology, but that's not your fault. That's what Facebook makes confusing. So claim your vanity URL so you have a name instead of numbers with your Facebook address. Make sure that you choose the right category, and if you're a brick and mortar store, you want to choose what's called a place page, and that gives you the map, that gives you your office hours, and it helps people to find you, and you can also get reviews. You can't get reviews on just the standard Facebook page. We've talked about scheduling posts. That helps you to save time. Make sure that you feature things like your community and what you're doing and your staff and things like that, because that builds that connection, and it just gives you something more to talk about. So you're not just talking about your specials. You're actually talking about you as a person and getting people to know, like, and trust you. We've talked about insights and analytics and how useful that is, and that's really important to go and check your analytics and where your customers are coming from and which of your posts are the most popular, so you can kind of repeat that formula. And we've talked about EdgeRank, which is all very complicated. We could have an entire 2-hour show talking about that, and there's lots of people who talk about it. John Loomer, I think, is one of my favorite people who talk about EdgeRank, and I'll post that link later for you in the show notes. And EdgeRank basically just means that not everybody sees all of your posts in their newsfeed, and every search is very individual. So what I see isn't the same as what Eden sees, isn't the same as what you see. So my newsfeed is personalized to me, to the likes, that the pages that I've liked, to the amount of interaction that I have and the comments that I have, and that determines what shows up in my newsfeed. So it's really important for your customers to get them engaged, as well as for you to go out and like and comment and share from other pages that you like. So don't just sit there and be passive. You want to make sure that you interact, because it helps both of you to be seen more. So I think that in a nutshell summarizes what we've talked about today. And Eden, why don't you just say, Eden has a special gift for you for tuning in today, and why don't you just tell them a little bit about it and how they can get it?
okay, I made an infographic with just some a couple clever ways things I didn't even mention today for local businesses to use to get some buzz going about their page. Some little things I found work and I keep an eye out for when I'm out in local businesses and I see happening. I made a little infographic of 5 clever ways to get some buzz happening about your Facebook page. Cool. I posted that at my website is thesocialgarden.net /power-of-free.
Okay, and I've posted the link in this new showcase, so you should be able to see the link there and be able to click on it. But if you can't see it, there will be a website page with this week's show, and I will post any links that Ian's mentioned and any resources and tools and things like that, so you can just come over and click on that later. So I will post that in the show notes later, but hopefully you're going to see it in the showcase link, and it's thesocialgarden.net /power-of-free.
And then you can always come find me on Facebook. I am, as far as I know, the only social garden. It's The Social Garden. That's my page name, and then my URL is The Social Garden. It's actually The Social Garden with Eden Rudin, I think, is what I've added to it now because I was afraid somebody else was going to have a social garden. So I'm getting a lot of Google alerts for that term.
Oh, cool. So Eden does have lots of tips and tricks, not just about Facebook, but you talk a lot about just strategy and things like that, what's new in the different social networks, maybe a bit about Twitter and things like that. You've got a YouTube channel as well. So if you go to thesocialgarden.net, you can find all of her links, or if you go on Facebook page, I think that's probably the best place to find you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm always there.
And Eden is very good at interacting and answering questions for you, and she's a very active user. So pop on over to her Facebook page and give her some love. She's also on Google+, so you can connect with her there too.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you, Angelique. It was so much fun. I just get so excited talking about all these things that people can do because I know that if they just implement a couple of them, things will change. I mean, and I know how hard it is to keep the doors of a business open. So yeah. it can really help.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all of your tips. And I think some of those you can just jump in and go and start implementing those this week, like scheduling some posts and sharing some pictures of your staff. That's really valuable. So thank you so much today, Eden, for sharing about Facebook marketing for business, especially relating to brick and mortar business. And like I said, we'll have the show notes on my Facebook or on my website at brightsparkmedia.ca. And I will share them also on Facebook and that for you, so you can come and revisit them later. And I will just sign off for now. Like I said, I don't see any other questions. So thank you so much for being here today, Eden Rudin from The Social Garden. And I'm Angelique Duffield, and this is the Power of Free show where we help entrepreneurs learn to use free tools to succeed in their business. And today's show was Facebook marketing for business. We'll see you next time, every Thursday at noon. Bye.